What if the Bible was not just a book you read, but a land you could walk? What if you could stand where Abraham stood, climb the mountain where Moses met God, and cross the desert where the Israelites wandered for 40 years? In Walking the Bible, Bruce Feiler does exactly that, retracing the physical path of Genesis through Deuteronomy across the real Middle East. Bruce Feiler, a journalist searching for deeper meaning in scripture, sets out on an extraordinary journey across Turkey, Iraq, Egypt, and Jordan. His goal is simple but powerful: to follow the geography of the first 5 books of the Bible and see how the land itself explains the stories. Key insight: the Bible is deeply rooted in real geography. Feiler begins in the land of Genesis, near Mount Ararat, where Noah's Ark is said to rest. He travels through ancient Mesopotamia, the birthplace of Abraham. Walking these lands, he realizes Abraham was not just a spiritual figure. He was a desert nomad, navigating harsh terrain, tribal conflicts, and long migrations. Key insight: understanding the harsh environment explains Abraham's faith, obedience, and journey. In Egypt, Feiler explores the setting of Israelite slavery. He follows the possible routes of the Exodus and stands by the Red Sea. The desert is vast, unforgiving, and disorienting, making the Exodus story feel real, not symbolic. Key insight: the Exodus becomes a survival story in one of the world's toughest landscapes. Feiler climbs Mount Sinai before dawn. As the sun rises, he reflects on Moses receiving the 10 Commandments here. The isolation, the silence, the height. It suddenly makes sense why this is where divine encounter happens. Key insight: geography creates the setting for spiritual revelation. In the wilderness, Feiler understands Leviticus differently. The laws were not random religious rules, they were survival guidelines for a fragile community living in extreme conditions. Key insight: biblical laws were practical for survival, order, and identity. Walking through the desert, Feiler feels the exhaustion, the confusion, and the monotony. Suddenly, Israel's complaints and rebellions make sense. 40 years in this terrain would test anyone's faith. Key insight: the wilderness was a testing ground for character and faith. From the mountains of Jordan, Feiler looks into the promised land just as Moses did. After all the desert, the green land feels like a miracle. He understands why Moses' final speeches in Deuteronomy are filled with urgency and emotion. Key insight: the promised land is powerful only after experiencing the wilderness. Feiler discovers that the Bible is not just theology, it is geography, history, and human struggle written into the land. The terrain explains the faith. Walking the Bible teaches us that scripture becomes alive when we see where it happened. The land turns stories into reality and faith into something you can almost touch. Maybe the Bible was never meant to be only read, but walked.